Hello. Today we're going to be opening up a first edition Dinosaur Rage structure deck for experienced players only, apparently. But let's be honest, this deck is an old deck. It's still very much built in the old school style. You can pretty much tell that given the list of monsters you have in here, it's pretty much just gonna be a case of ramming your monsters into your opponent's life points if possible. But saying that, you might be wondering, why am I opening up an old deck? It's not the oldest, but still it's pretty old. It doesn't match a lot of the new decks at the moment, which have pendulums and XYZs, and of course synchros. But what I like doing sometimes is taking those old school decks and old school ideas. I have a lot of old cards myself, and actually bolstering them up with newer cards, trying to keep that old school feel, but try and keep it relevant. Now, a deck like that's probably not going to get very far in, the official tournaments, but the point of this for me is not really to be trying to win, the tournaments come first place, even though that probably would be nice, but more of a case just to have fun, which is always what it has been, for me at least. So, I'm going to open this up. Now, just looking around here, apart from the fact that it's first edition, I don't see anything that's really different about this. There's 39 common cards, 1 foil card, 1 rule book, and 1 game mat. These are the old paper game mats. I don't think they've changed that apart from the new zones for pendulums and whatnot. So let me just see if I can try and get this thing open. It does not want to budge. 2 seconds, I'm just going to get a letter opener. How sad is that? I can't remember how to open up one of these things. There we go. A little bit of brute force. Pretty much the same idea with dinosaurs, really, to be honest. There we go. Okay, let's have a look in here. Okay, nicely packaged. Just put this off to the side. There we go. Okay, rulebook. Always good to have one of these. Although I am going to be getting one of the later ones because this only covers stuff, I believe. I don't know if it covers synchros. Actually, that's not the point of this anyway. Let me put that away. But it's always good if you're going to be, even just playing your mates or in a tournament, to have one of the rule books. Even though you can just look them up online. Okay, so a few tips on how to power up this deck. Cool, but I think we'll find that these are probably not too relevant now. Who knows? Maybe they are. Gotta love these old school deck zones. No pendulum zones there. There we go. Okay, now onto the main feature of this deck. Now, it's a bit bent, but that's alright. I'm actually loving the fact that it's first edition. I never used to care about that back in the day when I used to when I used to play this more often, and then of course I got busy with life and work and all other things. 2 seconds. There we go. But yeah, I never used to care about first edition cards, but nowadays it's one of the first things I actually look for. I suppose because I actually value my cards a little bit more. I just think it's a cool thing, really. Let's get this open. There we go. Okay, so to start this off, we have Superconductor Tyranno. Now, I suppose that this is meant to be the real boss monster of the deck. Its effect, I've seen this card before, but I've never really been too one on it. It says once per turn, by attributing 1 monster, inflicts 1,000 damage to your opponent. This monster cannot declare an attack if you use this effect this turn. Now, I'm trying to figure out in what situation that might be useful. I suppose if you can't attack for whatever reason, it might be handy just to pop something off of. Actually, if you think about a more modern context, if you have a kaiju on your side of the field, I need to look into kaijus a bit more to actually understand if this will work, but I can't see any reason why you couldn't just tribute the kaiju, blast it off, get rid of it, inflict 1,000 to your opponent's life points, and potentially get rid of a problem that you might have had on your side of the field. That's if you can't make a kaiju work to your advantage. So anyway, so that's Superconductor Tyranno. Then we get the Oxygeddon, and I'm pretty sure this should have... Oh, that's strange. They used to always be in order, but I guess they haven't done that this time. So, Oxygeddon and Hydrogeddon work together. I won't get too much into that one. I think I might look at it again in the end, but I think it's pretty much... Actually, tell you what, let me just look at it, because it says, when this card is destroyed by battle with a Pyro monster and sent to the graveyard, inflicts 800 damage to both players. So that is a very specific effect. You need to be battling a Pyro monster for this to get the most out of its effect. I suppose its effect is really just gimmicky. It is an 1800 attacker, level 4. It's a little beat stick, really, and of course you can use it with Hydrogeddon. Okay. So, let me just pop that over now. I'll pop it down here. Let's see. So, Goblin out of the frying pan. Pay 500 life points, negate the activation of a spell card, and return it to the owner's hand. Now, cost-wise, not bad. The problem is, you're giving a card back to your opponent. Yes, you get to stop it temporarily, but if it is their turn, they can just play it again. If it's your turn, okay, maybe they've activated a quick spell card. Let's say you've got anti-spell fragrance on the field and they had no choice but to lay it down. That becomes a little bit more realistic, but still, you're burning a card away. You're wasting a card for just sending something back to their hand that they're just going to use the next turn anyway. I think I prefer my counters to be a bit more absolute, really, to be honest. So I think I'll probably take this one out, no problem. Baby Cerosaurus. Okay, so we got a level 2 500 attacker, nothing special there. If this card is destroyed by an effect and sent to your graveyard, select one level 4 lower dinosaur type monster from your deck and special summon it. Now I can see where Superconductor Tyranno can actually come into play, because it just says if it's destroyed by an effect. Now let's have a look. Oh, I was wrong, tributing. My bad, I do apologize. Okay, so I suppose it's not the worst, but it's not the best, because, you know, I can't really tribute it to get its effect. I can't tribute it at all to get its effect. It has to be destroyed by an effect. So I suppose I could find a way to destroy it myself. There are plenty of ways to do that. It's more ideal if your opponent does, but... I don't know. I don't think I'll really keep this one in there unless I got an effect which I really want to have that requires me to destroy a monster on my side of the field. Tail Swipe. Don't think this is a bad card. I have seen it before. Select one, a face-up, level 5 or higher dinosaur-type monster on your side of the field to activate this card. And select and return to the owner's hand up to 2 monsters that are either lower level than the selected monster or face down on your opponent's side of the field. It's interesting that they actually have Black Tyranno in there, because Black Tyranno, which by the way is one of my favorite cards from back in the day, its effect really works when you've got your opponent's monster cards in face down defense position. So potentially, you know, you could attack with Black Tyranno. I'll get into that in a bit. And then after using Black Tyranno's effects, you can literally use Tail Swipe, send them back to the hand. I don't know if that'll be really useful. I mean, I think it depends on the circumstances. It's not necessarily the worst card, because if you think about some of the rock decks that are out there, they have to sacrifice monsters to put monsters face down on the field. Yeah, that could be handy in certain situations. I'll have to test this card out and see how it goes. And now Tyranno Infinity. There was actually a phase where I was really into banishing monsters, you know, getting them removed from play and capitalizing on that effect. So I used to use cards like Gren Magidueza. They used to increase its attack and defense based on how many cards are out of play or banished, as the text now says. Actually, this one doesn't. That's interesting, isn't it? Well, I suppose it's first edition, so it won't. But it actually says the number of removed from play dinosaur type monsters rather than the number of banished monsters, like the current erratas will say. So that's pretty cool, because it means that potentially I've got a way to, you know, to really keep this card relevant. You know, there's plenty of cards and plenty of ways to remove cards from play. I've seen a few of the new dinosaur support from Evolzar and the Jurak cards, I believe, that can help with that effect. So this is not a bad card. You know, if you can't remove cards from play, it's a dead card. You're going to get a 0 attacker out. Maybe you can use it for a Synchro, or maybe you can use it for an XYZ summon. Not bad, though. Not bad. Definitely not the worst effect. It's still just a beat stick, though, because it doesn't have any way to defend itself. But for a level 4, you know, we can't ask for too much. Okay, so Jurassic World. So this is the field card of the deck. All face-up dinosaur-type monsters gain 300 attack and defense. It doesn't get simpler than that. Although, if I was to play a field spell, I would probably be more tempted to use something like the Seal of Orichalcus. It's got a bit more bang for your buck, and it protects itself as well. I'm quite a fan of cards that protect themselves. Just gives you a bit more utility and a bit more room to actually fit other cards in without having to worry about everything else. So we'll see how it plays out, to be honest. I mean, opponent's attack isn't bad, but we can definitely do better. Black Stego. Okay, so when this card is selected as an attack target by your opponent's monster, this card is changed to defense position. So I guess the idea here is that you can literally just bang it out in face-up attack position. You can conduct your attacks with it, and then if it's selected as for an attack target, just turn it into defense. So you protect your life points. That is actually not bad for a monster that's really primarily focused on attack and defense. That's actually pretty good. Now you'll find that with all the dinosaurs, they do tend to be really focused in that area. That's kind of what I like about them. It's their little quirk, is the fact that they are just focused pretty much on brute force. I haven't really had a look at the evil Zars, apart from the evil Zar synchros like Dolkar and Lagia, which I think will work really good with this actually. But yeah, I mean they're pretty strong monsters if you can, if you can keep them on the field and protect them from spells and traps. And Survival Instinct. Select any number of dinosaur-type monsters in your graveyard and remove them from play. Again, Tyranno Infinity. Gain 400 life points for each dinosaur-type monster you removed. So you get a pretty good beast stick with Tyranno Infinity in this card, and you gain life points. That to me is good. Yeah, I'm not going to complain about that. Magical Mallets. Now, I need to check that this card's restrictions in terms of the current format, because I think, might be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that this card was forbidden at one point. I will need to double check that. I mean, this was a pretty good card back in the day. Add any number of cards from your hand to the deck and shuffle it, then draw the same number of cards. Pretty awesome. You keep the cards that you want in your hand. Anything you don't want, stick it back in, or maybe stuff that you just can't use at that time. Reshuffle, redraw. Not bad at all. I used to always like this card, and at one point I think it was actually at 3. But with the current formats and all the different playstyles you got in there, I mean, this card can actually be pretty OP in certain situations. So anyway, we'll put this down. I'll check if I can use it or not. If I can't, it goes out. It's not really going to worry me too much. There's always other ways to draw. And here we go. So we got Hydrageddon. So when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can special summon one Hydrageddon from your deck. Okay, summons a copy of itself. That's kind of cool. Maintain field advantage or increase field advantage. And I'm pretty sure that works with Oxygeddon, but I'm not sure if I have all the cards for that in this deck. I will have to have a look. Okay, so on to the next one. Negate attack. Don't think I need to say much. Opponent attacks, you negate it. Done. That's pretty much it. Okay, so I'll put this away. I can do better than that. Probably a Mirror Force, or pretty much anything else, really. Ultimate Tyranno. Okay, so this is the second boss monster of the deck. It might even be the boss monster. Its effect reads: if this card is in attack position and at the beginning of your battle phase, first you can and must attack all monsters on your opponent's side of the field. It's a bit like having a 3,000 attack spellcaster. I know it's a dinosaur, don't worry, I'm not getting confused here. But then activating diffusion wave motion. So that to get the same effect with spellcasters, at least, you need to use 2 different cards. With this, it's just summon into attack position, battle phase, attack everything, and it's already got 3,000 attack. That is pretty awesome. So yeah, I'm quite a fan of Ultimate Tyranno. That looks pretty cool. I think I'll definitely keep that. And of course, now we got Gillosaurus. Now, Gillosaurus is actually an awesome card. It always was, it always will be. In fact, it's even more so a better card now. Gillosaurus is a level 3 dinosaur. Attack and defense is not too special, but you can summon this card from your hand. If you do, your opponent can special summon one monster from the graveyard. Now, there's ways to stop your opponent from getting cards from their graveyard, but The big effect there is the fact they can just be special summons straight out of your hand. Imagine if you somehow manage to get 2 or 3 of these on the first turn. That's fantastic. That's an instant Dinosaur there. And plus, if you can get this out on the field when there's no cards in your opponent's graveyard, or no monsters at least, you've got a free card. I mean, that's pretty cool. I'm sure with pendulums you can find ways to summon stuff anyway, but this doesn't require a pendulum, so I like this card. Brings back some memories. Megamorph, don't need to say too much about this. Always a card that's been really powerful. So when your life points are lower than your opponent's, the original attack of the equipped monster is doubled. When your life points are higher, it drops. So really, you're only going to really play this when your life points are lower, but it doubles the attack. I mean, imagine Ultimate Tyranno at 6,000 attack. That's pretty awesome, and it can attack everything. The problem is, I believe that this card is definitely banned. Okay, so now we're moving on to the next one we've got. It's Hunting Instinct. Activate only when a monster is special summoned to your opponent's side of the field. Special summon 1 dinosaur type monster from your hand. Can't say too much about that. I mean, it's pretty obvious what you're going to use this for. Any special summon your opponent gets gives you a bonus summon. Pretty much you can use this in your opponent's turn. So, yeah, I mean, this could actually be a pretty good answer to pendulum summons, actually. If you don't have a way to deal with the pendulum monsters themselves, you can at least maintain some kind of advantage or defense. Heavy Storm, one of those very simple cards from back in the day when all card effects were actually fairly simple. Just destroy all spell and trap cards in the field. Don't need to say much about that. And then we got this card, Cabazols, I think. Just a normal monster, level 4, 1700 attack. Definitely gonna get swapped out. I don't really have any special love for this card. Can't really think of anything I can use for it, or with it even. Mystical Space Typhoon. Now they've tried to make this card, you know, less credible, or you know, less sort of a thing. They introduced other cards that have similar effects, like Twister, where you pay 500 life points for pretty much the same effect, just destroy a spell and trap card on the field. I don't think this card will ever be irrelevant, although I don't know if it'll ever be banned either, to be honest. It's just one of those cards that's just always been there. No one's really complained about it. One time it was down to 1, I believe. Now it's back up to 3. That's a bit nuts if you're an old school player, but pretty cool if you actually, you know, if you got current decks. But what that means, when you see a card like this go to 3, it means that it's not that special anymore. It means that there are other ways to do the same thing, perhaps even more efficiently. It just means that this card, it's had its day, but it's no longer the monster, or should I say, you know, the absolute beast of a card that it used to be. It is a quick splay spell. So yeah, you can use it in your opponent's turn. I don't think I'll ever not use this card unless I find a better way to do things. I'll just have to see how things go. Another Hydrogeddon. Mesmeric Control. So during your opponent's next turn, after you activate this card, your opponent cannot change the battle positions of monsters except with the card effects. Now, actually, in this deck, this makes perfect sense because if you, well, I'll get onto Black Tyranno in a bit, but with Black Tyranno, it needs all your opponent's monsters to be in face-up defense position. Now, if you can find a way to do that, and my preferable way would be with Swords of Concealing Light, or any other effects, perhaps, I think Black Brachios, well, there's one of the dinosaur cards that actually basically changes your opponent's monsters into defense position. You can use Book of Moon, but then basically what this means is that you can play this card and it keeps them there in that position. So if you have a card like Black Tyranno, you can pretty much keep hitting their life points directly. So let's have a look at the next card. So now we've got Malfunction, a bit of a strange card to find in a dinosaur deck, but let's have a look. So it's pay 500 life points, negate the activation of a trap card and return it to its original position. I suppose it's actually a strange effect to have in any deck. You basically say no to that card's effect at the time, so it misses its timing. That's valid. It's definitely more valid than the other card that just sends a spell card back to the opponent's hand. But they still have a trap card on their field. I mean, what are you going to do? Play like 3 Malfunctions? No, I definitely don't think I'd do that. The only good thing about it is that, you know, unlike Dark Bribe, you're not giving your opponent a hand advantage, and, you know, you're not taking a major cost to your life points. So I suppose there's something to it, but Again, there's still better cards, and this is one I'll definitely swap out. I actually like the fact that there's some cards I can look into this and go, nah, I'm not going to have it, because I'm going to be upgrading this deck. I'm definitely going to be keeping a lot of these cards in there, because I want to have that feel, that old school sort of dinosaur style feel to this deck, and just have a bit of fun with it. Maybe even just troll a few meta people. So Hyper Hammerhead, again, it's an old one. Most of these cards you'll find, they came out back in Invasion of Chaos. This one, I believe it did. It's either that or it was an Ancient Sanctuary. I can't remember. It was quite a while ago. But when this monster battles an opponent's monster, unless the opponent's monster is destroyed in battle, it is returned back to the opponent's hand at the end of the damage step. So, yeah, it's one of those ones where, you know, you're probably thinking now, why would I run that? But if you're running against something that's got ridiculously high defense, I mean, we've all seen monsters, well, I know I have, which just come out straight with 4,000 defense, and they just sit there, and you know, and you can't really do much with them apart from trying to destroy them with magic or trap. But this card, it's not a problem. It just rams into them, sends them back. Yeah, you might take some damage to your life points, but they're there. And it also works with monsters in attack position, although it does mean that Hyper Hammer will most likely be destroyed if that card isn't destroyed, unless it's one of those low attackers that just cannot be destroyed in battle. But yeah, it's a way of dealing with problem monsters which you can't find any other way to deal with. So I'll see how it goes. It might be useful, but it's also easily removable. But the fact is, it's a level 4 attacker, level 4 monster, and you know, you can use it for sinkers or XYZs. Okay, Magical Arm Shields. I believe this is actually one of Joey's cards from the anime. Activate only when your opponent declares an attack. Whilst there's a monster on your side of the field, take control of one of your opponent's face-up monsters, except the attacking monster. And this monster is attacked instead. At the end of the battle phase, return control of this monster to your opponent. Now, it's a bit of a risky card, to be honest, because yes, you do get to effectively destroy one of your opponent's monsters one way or another, unless it cannot be destroyed in battle. But potentially you may still get damage to your life points, and it's only going to really work if they've got another monster for you to pull across. I mean, in an ideal situation, what would happen is that, you know, they've got, let's just use an easy example. Let's say they've got a Blue Eyes White Dragon and a Baby Dragon. That Baby Dragon is really going to be a target for this. So if they decided that they attacked with your Baby Dragon, sorry, not the Baby Dragon, but the Blue Eyes. So you target the Blue Eyes, pull onto your side of the field, you wipe out their Baby Dragon, they take damage. The only thing in that situation is, chances are, if you're being attacked by such a weak monster first, you probably don't have any defense, which is unlikely given this card's requirements to have a monster. So it's one of those ones where I'm still trying to figure out how and when and why I would particularly play this card. You know, again, I can see potential if I'm playing against kaijus, because you know, that's just a way to sort of annoy them, because they're supposed to be putting cards on your side of the field, and then you capitalize on that. So maybe, but yeah, it's not a card I'm too keen on. Okay, so Black Terror now, or Patera, Terror. I think it's a silent P, Terror. So this is this dinosaur. When it is sent from the field to the graveyard, except when it's destroyed in battle, it is returned to the owner's hand. Okay, that's a bit better now. So now we have a good target for Superconducting Tyranno, because that's going to be tributed. If it's tributed, it's still going to be sent to the graveyard, isn't it? So you do that, you get this card's effect, it comes back to your hand. So it's kind of a nice way to sort of, you know, maintain either hand advantage, or at least, you know, not lose too many monsters to the graveyard. I think in a decent dinosaur deck, there will be a lot of transference between hand, field, and graveyard, especially with some of the Jurak cards that I've seen. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Volcanic Eruption. Activate only at the end phase whilst Jurassic World is on your side of the field. Destroy all cards on the field. So yeah, I suppose that's really the only advantage of Jurassic World, because, you know, 300 attack and defense doesn't really do anything for me. But Volcanic Eruption, that's not bad. That's not a bad card to combo it with. There's a similar card, you know, from the Jurek supports trap cards that does something like this. So I'll have to play around with that and see what it's like. Still, destroying everything on the field, that can be pretty cool, especially because you know it's a trap. If your opponent makes a big play, whack this card open, wipe everything out. start again afresh the next turn. You know, that's the ideal situation for this. I'll have to see how it goes. Black Tyranno. Now, this card is actually a special one to me because back in the day when I used to play a lot more, this card actually came out in Invasion of Chaos, and I opened a pack. It was the first Invasion of Chaos card that I actually got. You know, it was actually Ultimate Rare, I believe. Unfortunately, I don't have that original Black Tyranno. I'm actually quite sad that I got rid of it, but it was actually to do with the listing down there that this EN bit. I can't remember what to call it, but I believe the cards that didn't have that anymore, cards that didn't have that were basically not legal to be played in the UK for some reason. And I think that was really my motivation for getting rid of it, because otherwise I wouldn't have. I mean, that was I love the card because again, it's just the nostalgia of having it as the very first card you see in a brand new set, and it was Ultimate Rare. And plus, at that time, that was a pretty strong card literally just in terms of having a dinosaur beat stick. I think it actually was the strongest dinosaur you could possibly have. So in that time when I actually made a dinosaur deck, that was pretty much the trump card of my deck. Now, it's in this deck is I wouldn't call it the boss monster, even though I would like it to be. But again, its effect is a little bit shenanigan-y, if you like to say. If your opponent controls no cards except defense position monsters, this card can attack your opponent's directly. So, the problem is you need to make sure that they don't have any back row, no pendulums. They just have to have monsters in defense position. So, Swords of Concealing Light, Mesmeric Control keeps this a card attacking if you can't find another way to just wipe everything out. And again, I think Tail Swipe. This is where it might come. You attack them with it. So play Tail Swipe, send everything back. I don't know, if you play Tail Swipe, you're probably gonna get this. You're probably gonna attack them directly anyway. You have to see how it goes. But back in the day, that was pretty cool. I mean, I played this a few times where I got into that situation using cards like Earthquake or Zero Gravity to get people's attack position monsters, which came in on their turn, into defense. Summon this, and of course, if they had no back row, or if I MST'd their back row, or Heavy Stormed their back row, then of course this card would hit them directly. Which it's not bad, because back then, people were using cards that, like Spirit Reaper and stuff. I think it was Spirit Reaper. There's something that couldn't be destroyed anyway. And this is a way of getting around it. Literally just sticking into defense and, yeah, sorry. There's your life points going. Still not a very OP card, but I definitely want to keep this in, both for nostalgia and because I want to find a way to make that relevant again, definitely. Ryoku even. This card used to be a pretty awesome card. So it's literally half the attack of one face-up monster, and add the same amount of attack to another face-up monster. So you get your Ultimate Tyranno, just find something else, drop its attack, increase it by something. So increase the Ultimate Tyranno, and you can attack everything with pretty high attack. So yeah, and it's a good way to increase even lower power cards like the Hyper Hammerhead, and just give it a bit more oomph, really. But yeah, so I think this card is still banned potentially, because if you imagine a scenario where you got what was it called, a Tyranno Infinity on the field, and you've managed to remove from play or banish 5 dinosaurs. That's a 5,000 attacker. So if you use this card, you drop its attack to 2,500. It's still a 2,500 attacker, but then you increase an Ultimate Tyranno, pretty much anything else, by 2,500. So that is pretty cool. Not entirely sure if that can justify it being banned. I will double check the ban list just to make sure I'm absolutely right, but I'm pretty sure that this card is still banned. Another Hyper Hammerhead. Sibek's Blessing. This was actually a promo card ages ago. I think it came with a video game. So let's see. Activate only when a monster you control has been attacked a monster you control has attacked your opponent directly. Black Tyranno. Instant thought there. Gain life points equal to the battle damage that monster inflicted to your opponent. So yeah, that could be comboed with Black Tyranno actually. Yeah, because their monster's in defense position. You attack directly, you gain 2,600 life points. That's not too bad, but very situational. Quick play, so quick play even. So yeah, don't know why it's quick play, but I suppose, again, anti-spell fragrance. If this card happens to be on your field, I guess I don't know. I'll have to see how it goes. Mad Sword Beast, again, it's one of my all-time favorites. This card used to be in my old Dinosaur deck. All it is just deals piercing damage. But still, it's nice to have one in there. There's a better one. I think it's called Sabersaurus. No, not Sabersaurus. Dark Triceratops. Which is basically the level 6 version of it with 1,000 extra attack. It'll be cool to get Dark Triceratops again. Okay, Fossil Excavation. Discard one card from your hand and select one dinosaur type monster from your graveyard and special summon it. An effect monster special summoned this way has its effect negated. When this card is removed from the field, destroy that monster. And that monster is destroyed, destroy this card. So it's just another way of basically just getting something from your grave. Don't know, because at the end of the day, you know, Call of the Haunted. You know, what more do I need to say? There's other ways to get cards back, but I suppose if you find cards like Call of the Haunted going onto the banned list again, or things like that, then this becomes a little bit more relevant. But the fact that it negates an effect, I don't like that. I don't like things that bring things back only to lose their effect. Because specifically, I'm thinking about Black Tyranno again, because without its effect, it's basically just a 26 beat stick that happens to be level 8, I believe. I'll check it again, but it still requires 2 sacrifices, or tributes as they call it nowadays. Can't say sacrifices, that's anime. Okay, Lightning Vortex, basically the answer to Raigeki. Back when Raigeki was deemed too powerful and banished from the game. Just kidding. It was basically just banned. Basically, just discard one card, destroy all face-up monsters on your opponent's side of the field. I don't have any problem with that, because I know that Raigeki is back at 1, but in some tournaments it has still not been allowed, at least at this moment. I think probably after this year we're going to be getting Raigeki plays, but who knows? If that card gets banned again, Lightning Vortex, can't complain. It's pretty cool. And there we go, Sabersaurus, 1900 beat stick. It's a vanilla card, but with 1900, again, it's pretty awesome. Defense is only 500, but let's face it, you're not going to be playing this card in defense mode. Magical Mallet again. Like I said, at one time this was up to 3. It was a good way of getting cards that you can't use out of your hand. But at the same time, having too many of these just feels a bit cloggy, to be honest. Okay, so Seismic Shockwave. I've actually not seen this card before. Activate only when a dinosaur type monster on your side of the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard. Select 3 of your opponent's spell and trap card zones. Your opponent cannot select a zone if this card is already in it. What? Okay, so of your opponent's spell and trap card zones. Okay, so that's one part of the effect, so that's the targeting. Your opponent's so you cannot select a zone if a card is already in it. The selected zones cannot be used. Destroy this card during a 3rd standby phase after activation. Then you can return one dinosaur type monster from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, that's actually not, it's a bit wordy. I kind of got lost a little bit there. But yeah, so what this does is it says, okay, so your monster gets destroyed, and that could be by battle or by card effects or pretty much by anything. Oops, sorry, I just moved the camera there a tad. But the main thing there is that, so you can select 3 of the spell and trap card zones. They can't use them, so they're limited to 2. Most people aren't going to be playing in all of their spell and trap card zones. There's only a few decks that will do that. But it's a good way of stopping things like I believe they were the Gem Beasts or something like that. I've never played them. I've only seen them. Not sure if I would play them, but cards that have to go into the spell and trap card zone in order to be used by the deck. That would be pretty awesome to stop those. But at the same time, I can still think of better ways to do that. But I suppose the big thing at the end of it is that once you get that effect and you're kind of restricting your opponents a bit, you do get a dinosaur type monster back into your hand. So I think it's very situational. We'll have to see how that goes. I'll play around with it for a bit, and if it's useful, great. If it's not, oh well. Okay, so Miracle Jurassic Egg. Now, this card, while there's a face-up card on your side of the field, so whilst this card is face-up on your side of the field, this card cannot be removed from play. Place 2 counters on this card each time a dinosaur-type monster is sent to your graveyard. By attributing this card, select and special summon 1 dinosaur-type monster from your deck whose level is equal to or lower than the number of counters on this card when it is attributed. Okay, so it's very wordy for basically saying that it just counts the number of monsters that you have sent to the graveyard. Basically, a bit like some of the spell caster cards that counts magic effects. And at the end of it, you potentially get a dinosaur. And I say potentially because I don't know how long this would last in the field. And you need to be having a very efficient way to get a lot of monsters to the graveyard to be able to use this effect to get something big. So I don't think you'll get a lot of things big out of this. It might be handy to have in the deck, but yeah, we'll just play with that one. Big Evolution Pill. Now, this is definitely a good card to have in a dinosaur deck, in any dinosaur deck, in my opinion. Tribute 1 dinosaur-type monster to activate this effect. This card remains face-up on the field for 3 of your opponent's turns. Whilst this card is face-up on the field, you can normal summon or set dinosaur-type monsters without tributing. Yeah, so all those big monsters that are in this deck, that is pretty awesome. You can literally just wham Black Tyranno or Ultimate Tyranno or Superconducting Tyranno. Funny that all of them happen to be Tyrannos. But yeah, that's pretty awesome. I do like that. It's just a nice way. Oh, and look at that. Didn't think this was in the deck. Actually didn't look at the back of the deck, by the way, before this, as you can probably tell. But Dark Triceratops. So this is one of the ones that came out again in the early days. And simply, all it does, just like a Mad Sword Beast, piercing damage. But it's a 2400 beat stick, so that's pretty cool. And last but not least, certainly not least, we have the second Gillosaurus. Now, I actually do have my other Gillosauruses somewhere, but it's cool that this came with 2. And again, if you look at the current format with all the new cards, like Grenosaurus, this is an easy Grenosaurus straight away. Summon these, Grenosaurus, and yeah, happy days. Okay, so that pretty much concludes everything for this deck. It was pretty cool looking at some of these cards and actually having a bit of nostalgia there and thinking back to the days when they came out, and thinking about how they can be used in this current format and what kind of situations that we can really capitalize on. There will be quite a few cards I'll have removed from this deck. I'll probably post a second video on what I've actually done with it, but I'm going to try and keep a lot of the monsters the same. So I want to have a very sort of like vanilla experience, but then also make it a little bit relevant. So I'll probably have a few. I might have some pendulums in there because there are some pretty good dinosaur pendulums out, and I'll definitely have the XYZs in there. So Dolka, Lagia, and Grenosaurus, and I'll have a look and see what kind of synchros they are. I don't think there are a lot of synchros that you can summon. Synchros that are dinosaurs that you can summon, shall I say, that really supports in sort of an open style, like a rogue deck. I think most synchros are really going to be the Durax, which again I'm really not a fan of. I don't know what it is. I just don't like them. But yeah, we'll have to see where we go, and I'll keep you guys updated. So the next time I do a video on this particular type of deck, a dinosaur deck, it will be the updated version of this. And like I say, it's just for fun. And I do have a local community, so I'll see if I can get some videos in of playing some of the guys. That would be pretty awesome. Anyway, thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.